tell her get low, gon' rock with me. You gon' mess around now and get a shopping spree. I'm now in your possession like apostrophe. Oh, enough with all the talking, I just told her say less and do more. Do more, do more, do more. Oh, I tell her do more, do more, do more, do more. Go ahead, set the mood right, dirty like a food fight. You been working all day, load it up in 2 nights. Do more, do more, do more, do more. Oh, I tell her, and she gon' work that round. I'ma mess around and drown when she drop that down. No more phone be blowing up, I like not right now. Oh, I swear that she ain't nice the way she work that mouth. Whoa, automatic cause she move, she be cousin static. I be straight up like an addict, might become an addict. Now I gotta have it, had enough with all the moves, yeah, move here. Ooh, let me grab it now, I'm on 1 year. Now I'm not done yet, told her wait right here. I'll be back 1 sec, this is just time out, this is not no way. Go and grab that friend, and you know what's next, stay. You been rockin' with an all-star, baby, and I know you coming early like a five-star, baby. Packing out the seat, this ain't no hostile, baby, and they know me in the city like a mob star. Oh, I tell her get low, gon' rock with me. You gon' mess around now and get a shopping spree. I'm now in your possession like apostrophe. Oh, enough with all the talking, I just told her say less and do more, do more, do more, do more. Oh, I tell her do more, do more, do more, do more. Go ahead, set the mood right, dirty like a food fight. You been working all day, load it up in 2 nights. Do more, do more, do more, do more. Oh, I tell her,
Feel like John Morant, need a triple-double. Told him check the stats, yeah, I got a couple. I don't drop the ball, now I never fumble. I'm the MVP, now I feel like Russell. Feel like John Morant, need a triple-double. Told him check the stats, yeah, I got a couple. I don't drop the ball, now I never fumble. I'm the MVP, now I feel like Russell. Yeah, I need it now, told him on the lay. I've been moving dog, yeah, I'm on the way. I don't hear the talk, don't care what they say. I don't got no patience, I can't ever wait. I've been trying to get it, running up all these digits. And I've been in the gym, I've been up doing minutes. I just put in that work, told them it's strictly business. And I see through the face, they all just burning bridges. Feel like John Morant, need a triple-double. Told him check the stats, yeah, I got a couple. I don't drop the ball, now I never fumble. I'm the MVP, now I feel like Russell. Feel like John Morant, need a triple-double. Told him check the stats, yeah, I got a couple. I don't drop the ball, now I never fumble. I'm the MVP, now I feel like Russell. Yeah, they don't want it done like I want it, dog. Yeah, they say they want it, then they took the summer off. I've been going down the list, checking numbers off. I was checking on your numbers, told them something's off. I was at the bottom, now you know I'm climbing. Now they sending deals, they know I ain't signing. They been trying to sell it, they know I ain't buying. When they send a text, dog, I ain't replying. Feel like John Morant, need a triple-double. Told him check the stats, yeah, I got a couple. I don't drop the ball, now I never fumble. I'm the MVP, now I feel like Russell. Feel like John Morant, need a triple-double. Told him check the stats, yeah, I got a couple. I don't drop the ball, now I never fumble. I'm the MVP, now I feel like Russell.
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the f is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Spit shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test, now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close, I've been up for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working, I'm up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah. Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it, now I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen and we not a minute late. Seen him down bad, now they tryna hate. Same ones try to hit me for the raise. Got a mill, now they coming with a blaze. Check the numbers, fam, I swear I'm getting paid. I'm a Don just like the Perrier. It's one time when I'm looking at a face. On the low like I'm pushing up the bass. Come down and I'll meet him at a gate. Got a check and I bought myself a place. They get some money and they blow it on bait. I don't flex but I'm pushing all the weight. Told them all I swear I got it's what it takes. Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it, now I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen and we not a minute late.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Mafia, We're getting a little bit of a pump here on Bitcoin. We're going to be talking about this pump and if it can continue. There are some things on the chart. As you guys know, last night on the live stream, we were looking at that daily money flow crossing over into the green, or looking like it wanted to cross over into the green, potentially pointing to some higher prices. So we're going to talk about the possibility of this pump continuing, as well as taking a look at Matic, and specifically covering why Matic actually pumped, and where it could potentially go from here, because it is looking somewhat interesting on the higher time frames with some bullish signals potentially pointing towards some higher prices. So we're going to cover it all on tonight's live stream, guys. And shout out to Tony D. I don't know how that happened. He tried to put a poll in here, and I instantly canceled it. It just happened to be right where I was clicking, and I accidentally canceled it. But yeah, how tall is Frankie? 5'6", 5'8", 5'10", 6 foot. Interesting. A lot of people, I'll give you guys a hint. I'll give you a hint. When we meet people in real life, they always think that I'm shorter than I actually am. So there you go. But anyway, guys, thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to smash that like button. Every 100 likes we get gives you guys some extra chances to win some free crypto. So yeah, smash up that like button if you haven't already. It's also the easiest and most free way to help spread this content out to the crypto world and the YouTube verse. To help spread this free education all throughout the internet, so we can help as many people as possible make as much money as possible by trying to predict whether price is going to go up or down. So shout out to you guys. We got, let's see. We got Lars in the chat. What is going on, bro? We got Mark Dutch. Welcome in, bro. Goldavelli tuning in. What is going on? Says Tony D is like 6'8". Shout out to Goldavelli. Shout out to Tony D. Maybe you should do a Tony D poll next for his height. Shout out to... we got Mike Vito, my paisan. What is going on? He said you finally got the AC working. Shout out to shout out to Mike Vito. Yeah, I got the sweatshirt on today, guys. A little cooler than it typically is here in Georgia. Just give me 1 sec. I'm gonna close the door here in the studio. And we're right back at it. Shout out to the Godfather sweatshirt. This is actually a personal sweatshirt, as I am now going to be a godfather here coming up very soon. Shout out to my incoming niece. Niece incoming on the next thumbnail. But yeah, shout out to Coin Hoover. What is going on? We got Crypto Infinity in the chat. Bitfrog, what is going on? Coin Hoover, good to see you in here, bro. Let's see. We got K Diggity. Shout out to the goats out there. K Diggity loves the goats. But yeah, shout out to, let's see who else we got in here. We got Gen Z, welcome in. We got Wick 589. What is going on, brother? I'm sure his wife is lurking around here somewhere. And shout out to D Godfather in the chat. Show him some respect. He said, that's my sweater. Don't whack me, Godfather. Don't whack me. Show the Godfather some respect, guys. And don't forget, I think we might actually be, there's Rob the Crypto Snob tuning in, guys. Don't forget to show our mods some love in the chat. They make this community safe for you guys, getting those scammers out of here as soon as they show up. So show them some love in the chat. And don't forget to smash that like button. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into this crypto pump, or this Bitcoin pump, I should say, and break it all down for you. Let's get into it. So here we are. On the Bitcoin chart, I'm actually going to come on over to this chart, and let's talk about this a little bit, guys. Now, so obviously, as you guys know, yesterday, as we were looking at on the live stream, we were getting this potential. This was like one of the things that was looking good, and to be honest, right, again, I'm not going to spend any time on this really, but just remember these higher daily time frames, we do still have money flow technically coming out. I'll cover that a little bit more in detail with this green dot printing on the 3-day, as well as the 4-day here. So this pump up is not to be unexpected here, but again, we do have to be a little bit careful, at least in the meantime, as that money flow continues out here on the lower time frames. But maybe we could see these things fake out to the upside, get those crossovers back into the green, and continue up. But we're going to talk about the possibilities of that happening. But yesterday on the live stream, as you guys know, we were looking at a very specific signal here, talking about that money flow crossover, which was not technically crossing into the green yesterday, but we saw the direction of that money flow creeping up towards that zero line, potentially looking for that crossover into the green, which would potentially give us that inkling that we would get a little bit of a pump to the upside here. And we are now getting that crossover into the green, and we have obviously gotten a little bit of a pop up here. And again, I want to talk about where we could potentially see this go, and if we are going to see higher prices, what are those key levels up here that we need to get above in order to see those likely higher prices to come. But there you go, right? I like to talk a little bit about how we got to where we were, or how we got to where we are, so we can better understand where we're going, right? And hopefully over time, as we come on the live stream, and we kind of show like, hey, yesterday we were looking at this, potentially looking at making us expect higher prices. Hopefully you guys kind of understand this, and you can start looking at this stuff yourself, so you can even anticipate these pumps and dumps before they actually happen. So there you go, right? We have the money flow coming up here on the daily, and we also have some interesting time frames down here here. We're going to talk about this 10-hour. I'm actually going to first talk about it on Matic because this is really the 10-hour on Matic is what is looking very, very good in my opinion, alongside some other time frames that are confluent. But yeah, 10-hour money flow starting to work its way up. We also have that 8-hour money flow so close to crossing over into the green. And as you guys know, when you're looking at money flow, as long as you understand the context of the time frame that you're looking at, it is going to give you an idea of where that longer-term trend is going to go, right? I always say the money flow indicates the longer-term trend, and then the green and red dots on market cipher B indicate the ebbs and flows in the market, right? Or the noise in the market, as I like to say, right? So red dot, right? You get a red dot, a green dot, a red dot, a green dot, red dot, green dot, red dot, green dot. But overall, that money flow is going to kind of give you that idea of where the trend is overall going to likely go. Now, obviously, we're kind of in a sideways range here. But as this money flow continues up, and this is why I love money flow, because it is somewhat directional, right? It is obviously, as we were talking about yesterday, someone made a comment saying that it was a lagging indicator, which is 100% true. But the directional nature of the money flow can help us get a little bit of a predictive outlook of what is going to happen, right? So if that money flow continues up, we can anticipate that the trend may start to continue to the upside here, giving us a little bit more of a move to the upside, right? Same thing with the crossover to the downside. You expect that continuation down, and you can see this does play out more often than it doesn't. Green crossover right here, continuation to the upside, crossover over here, right, into the red, continuation to the downside. And then the red and green dots give you those ideas of those little ebbs and flows or the noise in the overall trend. And I like to look at these as a filter, right? We talked about this like a few days ago. Not only can we use market structure as a filter on how to understand where you should be kind of favoring longs or shorts, but money flow is kind of like a simpler way to look at that because I know market structure can get a little bit complicated, when you're looking at, the larger market structure and all these internal structures as well. Money flow can kind of just give you an easy filter. When you're in the red, you're going to be favoring the shorts. When you're in the green, you're going to be favoring the longs, right, for the most part. And then if you could catch those crossovers early, you could get a nice early entry, which in my opinion, right, if we're going to continue up here to our next targets, which may be around 65K, not even, I wouldn't say, too late to be looking for some long positions. Don't want to be buying the top of the green candles, but again, with that money flow crossover into the green, that would make us anticipate the continuation up. So there you go, right? Watching this 8-hour money flow crossover into the green, definitely a possibility of a continuation up here like we were looking at last night. But let's hop on over to these higher time frames. Weekly green dot is very close to printing here. As you can see, if we zoom in, that VWAP is coming up towards that 0 line. Definitely a point for the bulls here if we can get that green dot to print by the end of the week. And then 6-day green dot also getting very close to printing. 5-day green dot, 4-day green dot, 3-day green dot also printing, right? So remember, and this is yesterday when we were kind of comparing this to these previous kind of pumps and dumps here. As we see this green dot, right? This is obviously a big thing we were looking at to anticipate the bigger move up. However, we do want to keep in mind that money flow is somewhat coming to the downside here. Now, again, I'm not necessarily like super concerned about this. Just being with where we are in the cycle, it would not be impossible to see this fake out. But from a binary perspective, from a technical perspective, this money flow is objectively coming to the downside, and we have to keep that in mind, right? Now, again, if we see these lower time frames cross into the green and we get a massive pump, you could see these kind of flip up and kind of fake out. But again, objectively, it is still coming out. 4-day money flow kind of starting to curve back up here. But again, these time frames take a long time to develop. And shout out to anybody who's curious about I was talking about how I was going to create a time frames explained tutorial video, and this is still going to be coming out. I have 2 videos already on the channel about explaining time frames. So if you want like kind of expedite waiting for this new video, go check that one out, and I will make a new updated one. But I was talking to Tony D today, and I think what we're going to do here is we're going to create a beginner series, right? I want to create a playlist on the channel where people can kind of just come to the channel and get like a free education starting from like literally nothing to, I wouldn't say super advanced strategies, but basically everything I talk about on this live stream I will cover, and we're just going to make it like a beginner series. It'll be completely free and available for you guys, and we'll kind of just populate that. We're going to talk about things like how to set up TradingView, custom settings, your alert, look over indicators, different ways to find support and resistance. We'll talk about entry triggers. Maybe I'll even drop something in there about liquidity, and then at the end I'll kind of talk about psychology. Before I talk about entry triggers, we'll talk about psychology and all the important stuff so you can kind of see that playlist. Maybe we'll record the whole thing and drop it at once. But I don't know. Maybe it'll be like a weekly series where we drop one episode a week. Just kind of starting you off, right? You jump on the charts. You don't know what to look at. You want to start using charts. You want to start learning how to trade. And it'll just be from A to Z, kind of just a basic beginner's course, right? Or I wouldn't say course, but a beginner series. Just going over everything you need to get started, just day trading or swing trading or whatever you're looking for. So there you go. And I will add time frames into that. The reason I say that is because I'm probably going to postpone that time frame video to be in that series, because I did realize we have 2 time frame videos. So go ahead and check those out. Maybe the mods can drop that in there if they know where it is. Tony D, if you can find that video. Rob, if anyone has that video, if you guys could drop it, I would greatly appreciate you. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Let's see. Hey, shout out to Al Jr. said, Frankie breaks my heart that I've made a comment for that video for like 3 months. My main question would be how to determine how long does each time frame take to play out. Thanks, man. Shout out to Al Jr. Well, hey, bro, how about this? We'll just expedite that, and I will answer that on today's live stream. So stick around, Al. I'm going to get over this TA, and then I'll answer your question really quick. I'm sure it'll help out a lot of other Mafia members. So I'm going to go ahead and let me just, I'm going to take a picture here so I remember the exact question. Bada boom. There we go. But yeah, that beginner series will get a lot of people started going from kind of A to Z. Maybe we'll talk about how to deposit money into an exchange, etc. We'll cover all the basics for you guys, and obviously be completely free. And there you go. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. If you guys are interested in figuring out time frames, again, you can watch that video. Definitely very, very helpful. So there you go. I actually didn't know we had those videos. I completely forgot I made those videos. I thought that was going to be my first time dropping a time frame video. And then I think Tony or Rob, one of the mods, was like, Frank, you've done 2 of those videos already. And I was like, what? But yeah, I will update that in the beginner series. But as we look here, guys, green dot on the 3-day. Again, this is one thing we were looking at to add to give us the idea that we could continue to the upside. But remember, with this money flow coming out and the fact that we are technically making lower highs and lower lows here, and we are technically in a downtrend here, we have to anticipate that this may be, right now, every time we make another lower low, I will say, it may get less and less likely that we're going to make another lower high, because, again, this is somewhat of a bull flag. This could be bullish consolidation, so just keep that in mind. That's why it's a little bit of a harder situation on the higher time frames. I do think locally we do have an opportunity to continue up, and I'll cover the local levels that we have to get above to call for that. But overall, we have to look at this very similarly to what we were talking about yesterday and what we were looking at back here and back here, as we were seeing some high daily time frame money flow coming out, looking for these to be lackluster bounces to the upside to put those lower highs in and then break structure to the downside. We could potentially see that happen again, breaking that structure to the downside again, potentially bringing us down to that $47,500 level. But until then, right, if we get these fresh green dots on the higher daily time frames, we could anticipate more upside in the short term. So that is exciting. At least we could potentially get a little bit more of a push up here. And I do want to talk about the levels that we are approaching right now. But first, let's talk about, let's talk about the current levels right now. I'm going to pull up the current range that we are looking at. Bada boom, here we are. And as you guys know, to be honest, right, like this pump was somewhat, decent, right, compared to the price action we've been seeing. But for the most part, right, we are kind of just continuing to range around here. But hopefully, if we could get above this purple box, and I would call the level we need to crack, here's the thing, right? I would say if you could get above this purple box at about $62,000, it could potentially give us that opportunity to break out. The one thing I would be a little bit concerned about here is the fact that up here at about $63,000, we do have a significant zone of liquidity. And when we see this liquidity, guys, it does put us in a situation where you could potentially just be going to hunt that liquidity. And then oftentimes what will happen is it does give us an opportunity to either look for a short or even just a short-term scalp short, as if we do come up and scoop that liquidity and get some kind of a swing failure pattern up here, it could be a big place to look for a rejection. But in turn, if we could get above that level, grab this liquidity, push up, and flip this level to support, in that case, I do think the next likely level it is kind of the doorway to higher prices, right? Because if we look at this in terms of a volume profile, come up to a higher time frame here, once we get above this value area low, and I'll actually even, take off some of these other levels. I'll put them back on in a sec so I can explain them to you. But for the most part, right, if we could get above this value area low and hold above it, right, and build some support up here, it does technically open up the door, in my opinion, based off the laws of the volume profile. Once you hold that value area low as support, we could potentially look up to about $67,000 as once you hold that value area low, the next likely place for price to go. Creighton C, I know you're in chat right now. Drop that next level, even though I kind of just pointed it out. Where are we going after we hold that value area low? Exactly, Creighton answering that question instantly. That POC is the next likely place for price to go, and obviously we have seen this happen time and time again. Slip the low, get back above that value area low, flip it to support. Next likely place for price to go is the POC. Get above the POC, value area high, and vice versa. Right? Come to the POC, back down to the low, deviate the low, back above it to the POC, up to the value area high, so on and so forth. Right? That is the reliability of these volume profiles, which, by the way, I will be breaking down in the beginner series. But yeah, like this is potentially going to be the doorway to higher prices, right? So we do have to kind of, stay above here for a little bit, build some support. But I do think like once we could crack this liquidity at about $63,000, that may really give us that big doorway to the get the breakout, right? So that is going to be the level, the next key level that I'm watching, $63,000. We know we have that liquidity. And again, what happens when you hit, what do I mean, right? If you're new to the stream and you don't know what I'm talking about, when we look at these liquidation heat maps, all this shows you is where traders likely have their stop losses set. So when price came up here, we likely had a lot of people shorting up here, and their stop losses and liquidation levels, like even all throughout here, right, as people are shorting, their stop losses are likely going to be above a previous swing high, right? So that puts all that liquidity, which is essentially just stop losses or liquidation levels, right? Specifically, this is looking at liquidation levels, and when you get liquidated or stopped out of a short position, it creates a market buy, right? So once you tap into this liquidity, oftentimes you do start to see those candles pump up pretty heavily, right? And as you can see here, there is a significant amount of liquidity above, even getting up to about, $70,000, right? Which is, if I pull up a little bit of a higher time frame here, let me go ahead and pull up, well, actually, let me see. This is the 1 month. Let's pull up the 3 month time frame real quick. Bada boom, bada bing. Just to get a little bit more of a zoomed out view. Yeah, you could see, right? Like that's kind of the most local level of liquidity. And then right above that, right? Not right above it, but the next real heavy area of liquidity is sitting at about, above that $70,000 high that we made over here. So again, what do these liquidity levels do for us, or these liquidation levels do for us? Sometimes they act as a magnet for price. And then, like I said, when you tap into them, sometimes they can, when you get stopped out of the short positions or liquidated out of the short positions, it creates market buys, which gives you those big wicks, right? Or those big candles that just start to pump out of nowhere. And we're going to break that down a little bit when we take a look at the Matic chart in just a minute. And I'm going to drop a little bit of sauce here. I do have a tutorial talking about what I'm going to bring up, but I'm going to drop some sauce on how you guys can kind of spot these short squeezes and anticipate these pushes up. But there you go. So, next major level of liquidity is sitting up about $70,000, and then locally, 63 is the level to get above, in my opinion. And once we crack that $63,000 level, that could be the doorway to start our journey up to that POC. And then again, flip that POC, we could look to hunt out that $70,000 liquidity. So this is decent, right? Because again, deviate from the high, look to eventually go to the low. Deviate the low, eventually look to go to the high. Reject the high, look to go to the low. Deviate the low. Now we're getting back in. We could potentially look for the move up. But again, it's not just the POC. We also have some local levels here, which I will just bring up again. And it is right here, right? 786 Fibonacci retracement level could be the most important level of resistance because, as you guys know, if we are going to put in a lower high and get a big rejection to the downside in the bearish case, the high likelihood areas to get those rejections is either going to be the golden pocket or that 786 Fibonacci retracement level, which is also confluent with this daily horizontal. So this zone here between about, I would say, 65 and 66K, that would be a very, very key level to get above. So if we crack 63K, we could easily see the continuation, again, starting the journey up to that POC. But just remember, we do have that last really significant level of resistance in the way, being that 786 because of that high likelihood of putting that lower high in there. And then once we flip that 786, that would kind of, this is where I would probably be looking up to take that liquidity up above 70K, right? Now, POC could give you resistance as well, and you could technically put the lower high in there. But again, once you flip that 786, that kind of does, in my opinion, give me some confidence that we will at least get up to the value area high. But again, it's important to understand the POC is there sitting at 67K. It is a level of resistance. You could technically put the lower high in. But in my opinion, right, like typically when we see those lower highs, they come in at the golden pocket or 786, which is why this level is absolutely key, in my opinion, if we get that move to the upside. Does that make sense, everybody? Let me know. Drop a hashtag value in the chat, or drop a sauce can if you got one of those memberships. Tony D, let's drop some memberships on the Mafia here. Shout out to Tony D. Let's drop some memberships. Let's see. Can I use Cypher B without Heikinashi candles? Yeah, I use it without Heikinashi candles all the time. I actually, to be clear, I do believe that Market Cypher B is. I don't know if it's Market Cypher in general or if it's just Market Cypher B or Market Cypher A. But I do know that CryptoFace has mentioned before that it is designed specifically for Heikinashi candles. But I find plenty of success using it with regular candles as well. So in my opinion, I mean, I use it with regular candles. I don't really have a problem. So yeah, I would take that for what it's worth. There's those sauce cans in the chat. Let's go. Let's see. Hopefully Tony D hears us for those memberships. You guys will probably find out in a second. I'm sure he does. But let's see. Is that POC a good point to take profit? Well, actually, that is a great question. And when you're trading these volume profiles, in my opinion, for me, in my personal trading plan, basically how I treat these, and you guys remember yesterday the short that I took, the little scalp short that we took from this local volume profile. Let me go ahead and pull up the local profile here. You guys know, right? You don't just have to look at the large profiles. You can look at this on many different time frames. And we actually used the Frankie Candles Essentials indicator in collaboration with Lux Algo. Bada boom. Am I tripping? Oh, there it is. Interesting. Well, I don't know why that... Is this not start anymore? There we go. But yeah, we actually use this volume profile, there we go, to find a short. It wasn't on this time frame. I'm going to have to re-pull this. Bear with me. No pun intended. I should say bull with me right now. Okay, so I'm going to have to change some settings here. But basically, when you have these fixed range volume profiles, right, this is on a lower time frame, and we caught a nice scalp short position here as we deviated above the high. And when I personally trade the value areas, the way I do it is if I were to take a short up here, which typically I am looking for shorts as we deviate above the high, as long as we have those bearish confirmations. And oftentimes, if you're using the free Frankie Candles Essentials here, which again is this is just a regular volume profile with a couple of added features, but it does pull out the automatic auto divergence detection here, which is nice if you're new to trading and you're not sure exactly what to look for. This can help you kind of point out those bearish confirmations. But oftentimes, depending on what time frame you're looking at, you would have to tweak the settings here a little bit. But typically, you deviate above the high. When you get those bearish confirmations, the divergences will be pointed out. Shout out to Tony D. Said, YouTube being stupid, stand by. Shout out to Tony D. There you go. He's trying to get those memberships for everybody. No problem, brother. Thank you for doing that. But, looking for shorts at the highs, longs at the lows. And you can see the line giving you the auto divergence detection. But we did wind up coming down here on a lower time frame, and as you deviated above this value area high, we were getting some bearish divergences. We also had money flow coming out here on Market Cypher B, which gave us the idea that maybe you can look for a short position, as this is considered an overvalued asset. If you're new to using the volume profiles, just understand when you deviate above the value area high, this would be considered overvalued, right? This is why oftentimes, if you're going to remain range bound, this is where you want to look for shorts. And for me, for the most part, right, when I'm looking for these short positions, I am looking for price, right? If I were to take a short here, I'll just put the position tool, right? Find your entry on the deviation above the high. And then the idea for me is that we will likely get back into the range, go back to the POC, and then once we lose that POC, likely go back to the low. Now, obviously, this is not going to be 100%. It's not going to play out 100% of the time. But if you look at the volume profiles, you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, you know how well they work. But typically, the POC is always going to be a take profit one for me, which you could see was a pretty good thing here on that drop to the downside, looking at take profit one at the POC, as we never made it down to the value area low. So for me personally, right, I am taking profit at the POC, and then at that point, I'm either moving my stop loss to break even, making it a guaranteed winning trade, because if price goes against me, right, not only am I going to get stopped out technically at my entry or break even, but I've already taken profits, right? So I lose no money on the stop out. As a matter of fact, I already have money locked in, which again is like the only way to guarantee a winning trade, right? You have to control your risk, right? Manage your risk. put your stop loss to break even, and if you've already taken profits, price goes against you, you get stopped out at break even, or in profit, I should say. And that POC for me is always going to be that first take profit in case we don't make it to the value area low. But as we know, very often you will make it all the way down to that value area low. And if we do, I will take a second take profit. And if money flow is coming out or I see other bearish signals that looks like our continuation to the downside may happen, then I will hold a small portion of that trade to capitalize on those extra gains. So there you go. Hopefully that answers your question. But there you go. So yeah, and here's another thing, right? Like we can still look at these local ranges or this local volume profile here. Let me go ahead and turn off this auto Fibonacci retracement. And if we do wind up getting back down under this value area high, we could potentially just see that volume profile fill out in full once again. Key levels to the downside also remain exactly the same as yesterday. Looking at this volume profile as well as, I don't really, again, I do think a continuation up is probably likely with the way money flow looks on the kind of higher hourly time frames, such as the 6, 8, and 10 hour. If we get those crossovers, I think the continuation up is possible. But if we get the bigger drop to the downside, again, like that kind of last resort level, in my opinion, is going to be that $54,000 or $54,200 to $53,755 golden pocket, right? If we did get some kind of big drop here, that would be like, we really want to hold that level. Otherwise, more downside is going to be very, very likely, in my opinion. So there you go. Those are the local levels on top of kind of the macro situation here for that continuation. So I do think there is a good possibility of getting that continuation up. And now you guys know those key levels to get above in order to get that big, the likely continuation up here. But very heavy resistance here. Really want to crack that liquidity sitting above $63,000 above this wick. Right, 62,771 technically is the top of that wick. So there you guys go. Shout out to Digital Pencil. What is going on, bro? Wait, hang on. Let me see this poll here. The poll is Tony D, I will literally never talk to you again if you leak that picture. Anyway, shout out to Tony D. But yeah, let's see. How tall is Frankie? Wow. It is a tie between 5'6" and 6 foot. Dang, if you have not voted on this poll, please get your vote in, because I am really curious. Everyone we meet in person at like conventions are always like, oh my God, dude, you are way taller than I thought. Which is hilarious. But yeah, if you have not voted, I'm gonna see that 5'6" or 6 foot. I mean, that's a wide range here. And then coming in third place, 5'8". Okay, yeah, I could see 5'8". It's wild. Vote on that, please, if you have not already. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Yeah, shout out to Jay Jeweler. Shout out to Jay. Yeah, are you a jeweler, bro? Hit me up, bro. Hit me up. But it says September on average is a bearish month, and October is really bullish month on average. Yeah, absolutely. They call it October for a reason. Yeah, absolutely agree with you, bro. And, we talked about that recently looking at the higher time frames about how, typically we do wind up, ranging around during the summer months, right? Like, obviously, this is the summer, right? Starting in March, going all the way into the rest of the summer. Even back here, starting in March all the way to the end of the summer, right? And then finally, September, we kind of went sideways, but then October was very bullish, right? Even back here, this was, June, July, into October, right? October was kind of up. This was the middle of the bear market, so it was slightly different. But yeah, typically October, they do call October for a reason, right? And, assuming that we are not in the middle, obviously, of a bear market, right? This is, definitely a different situation than when FTX was about to collapse. But, in my opinion, right, this October is going to be much more likely or much more similar, right, to this October, right, in 2020, right? Election year, right? Very, very similar. So yeah, hopefully, in my opinion, right, it wouldn't be unlikely to see, price kind of break out during October, right? The question is, are we going to wind up continuing to range until October? Are we going to kind of grind our way up and then break out? Or are we going to get one more drop? Nobody knows, right? But, as we have these key levels, you guys can hopefully, all these key levels, the volume profiles help you guys kind of have a clear guide on where price is at least likely to go in the short term, based off the liquidity and the key levels. So, Let's see. Shout out to Dave Digital. What is going on, bro? The answer is over 6 feet. Shout out to Dave. But let's see. Yeah, I guess, okay. I guess now we have an official winner. Yeah, 6 foot. That is, I'm probably 6'1", but I like to say 6 foot because I don't want to, like, I'm like 6. I used to be like 6 foot and 3/4 for like all of high school, all of college. I'm probably 6'1" at this point, unless I shrunk. But yeah, I'll just call myself 6 foot. I'm like 6 3/4. But yeah, everyone always thinks I'm shorter, which is hilarious because I am, it's pretty funny. Yeah, all my length is in my torso, though. Pretty funny. Probably why my calves are so beefed out. Right? I got like short legs with a long torso, which makes clothing very difficult. Right? If I stood up right now, you guys would laugh at this sweatshirt. I'm wearing a large sweatshirt, but it's basically like a crop top on me. But anyway, not super tall, right? Like 6 foot's not super tall, but my torso is abnormally long. But yeah, anyway, let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to Dave Digital, said Faces Space last night on Billy Goat Tales was fire AF. If you missed it, catch both replays on Billy Goat Tales X. Shout out to Dave Digital and shout out to Crypto Billy and Billy Goat Tales. I would second that, Dave Digital. Shout out to you, bro. But there you go, guys. That is what I'm looking at on Bitcoin. Let's see if we can get that 10-hour money flow crossover. This would be pretty bullish, in my opinion, at least in the medium term, and to bring us to our target at around 65K. And then again, you have those local levels in case we do get some kind of breakdown randomly and we just fall back to the downside. You have this key volume profile, and in that case, if you got some kind of breakdown here, this would look very obvious as a lot of people always ask me, well, Frankie, listen. I get the volume profiles. I look for the shorts at the highs. I'm looking for the longs at the lows. It plays out more often than it doesn't, right? But how do you know, right? You're not going to range around all the time. We only range 80% of the time. What about the other 20%? And this is where money flow analysis comes in my own personal strategy, right? So if you're looking at the 10-hour here, right, this would make it more likely, in my opinion, right? If we're going to range around here, as that money flow comes into the green, this is what I look for to try to anticipate the final breakouts of these volume profiles, right? And if you could find the long positions down here, I would have loved to get that short to play out all the way to the value area low. And in that case, this is where I'd be looking for longs. And then with that money flow coming up, this would give you the anticipation of, hey, if I could find a long position down here, I could potentially hold this. And if that money flow crosses over, I can anticipate that trend to continue to the upside. And this is kind of how I try to figure out if those ranges are going to break up or break down. But either way, when I look for shorts at the highs and longs at the lows, oftentimes when we do get the breakouts, I'm at least holding a portion of that trade from the opposite end of the range, right? So if we break out, oftentimes, not in this particular case, I'm not holding a long from down here on any of my main accounts at least, but the more often than not, we are in longs from the lows or or shorts from the highs. And then, if you do get that breakdown, we are at least holding a small portion of that trade. So there you go. Now let's go ahead and move on to shout out to CJ the One, says CandleMafia. Let's go. Shout out to CJ. Welcome in, bro. Huge pump coming. Shout out to Lars. Yeah, hopefully we can get a huge pump coming and we can get those fake outs on the higher time frame money flow and just start to rip to the upside here. That would be very nice. We'll be honest. These high hourly time frames aren't looking too bad. Bulls are too strong, baby. Shout out to Flat Smack. Let's go. Let's see. What if we don't have access to Market Cipher B? Shout out to Hassam. To be honest, this is how I do it, right? There are other ways you could try to figure this out, but for me, for the most part, there's ways you could do this on order flow as well. It's a little bit more of an advanced technique. I don't really cover that on the YouTube channel. It's like very kind of like overwhelming for new people. But if you don't have Market Cipher B, something else you could potentially look at is high time frame market structure, right? It's a little more difficult because you have to have the knowledge to kind of understand what you're looking at. But yeah, what could you look at? You could look at like high time frame RSI, I guess, as well. Yeah, it's kind of hard. I could try to figure out a good replacement. Thinking about adding another pre-record to the channel, just top 3 free indicators, which might be able to help you out. I could try to find something. I just wrote that down. I could try to find something, but for me, it's mostly money flow. But yeah, I'll get back to you, Hassam. I'll try to answer that question for you. We'll explain it on a live stream coming up here very soon. Shout out to Crypto Max. He said he's lurking. Let's go. I really like the Wix today. Shout out to Digital Pencil. Shout out to Bill says, why I so bearish? Shout out to Bill. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that's a question. I don't know. Shout out to Tony D. There we go. 50 Frankie Candles memberships. Let's go. Dropping it on the Mafia. Let's go. Shout out to Tony coming for Golden Spot. I'm just kidding. Nobody can take Golden Spot. But drop that golden emoji in the chat if you just got gifted a membership from Tony D. Wait, Tony, why did you gift him? Shout out to Tony D. Oh, God. All right. I'll give you the money back. Shout out to Tony D for gifting that from his personal account. Shout out to you, bro. Everybody's getting a membership. Let's go. I love it, baby. I love it. Shout out to Crypto Max. He says, yes, he didn't even get a membership. He's loving it. Let's go. Shout out to Tony D. Thank you for doing that, bro. And just text me the, I think it was probably $250. Let me know. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you right after the stream. If I can't find a Tony D emoji, shout out to K Diggity said, would not work on your account. I was frustrated. Shout out to Tony D. Yeah, just let me know. I think it's $250, right? I'll send it to you after the stream. But there you go. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of those altcoins, guys. Drop your favorite alts in the chat right now. If you want us to take a look, Rob the Crypto Samba, let us know. Count up the votes and let us know what we're looking at. Yo, shout out to Tim Candlestan said, Tony D on fire, baby. Let's go. Yo, drop those gold. Yeah, Drive. You just got a membership. Drop those golden emojis, and we'll just pretend that they're Tony D emojis. It's fire. Egg. Okay, there you go. Eggplant emojis in the chat for Tony D. I like that. Drop those eggplant emojis in the chat for Tony D. Too funny, man. But yeah, before we jump into the altcoins, guys, I do want to answer Al Jr.'s question, which I'm glad I took a picture of because I don't remember exactly what it was. All right, let's see here. So the question is, Frankie, let me see. Okay, so my main question would be how to determine how long does each time frame take to play out. Thank you. Yeah, so shout out to Edward Diamond Hands. What is going on, bro? Good to see you. But yeah, how long does it take for each time frame to play out? The way I'll explain this is basically, actually, let's take a look at Matic while you guys are dropping those altcoins in the votes in the chat and those eggplant emojis and the banana emojis. You guys are funny, man. Show us some love for Tony D because I'm not giving him the money back. I'm just kidding. I will. But yeah, let's take a look at Matic real quick, and I'll explain Al Jr.'s question, right? So the question is, how do we know how long it takes for each time frame to play out? And it's really, it's a loaded question, right? Because it depends on what you're looking for to play out. But what I will say is there's three main types of traders, right? There's scalpers, there's day traders, and there's swing traders, right? Scalpers are typically in and out of multiple trades a day. You're just jumping in for that little move and jumping out, grabbing your money and running away, right? And I would also put that as the hardest type of trading to learn, right? I'm actually going to put a Twitter thread out tomorrow answering a question that I got about this. Or maybe, I don't know if Tony sent it out today. I wrote it. Tony was going to post it. But yeah, this is, scalping is like, everybody wants to be a scalp trader, but this is like one of the hardest things to do as a new trader because the low time frames are very noisy, right? And, you know, obviously, you know, it looks like you have all these ups and downs, right? But for the most part, you know, this is very noisy, right? As you know, on a 7-minute or on a 5-minute candle, right? You are printing a new candle every 5 minutes. Where on the weekly time frame, you are printing a new candle every week, right? So all those crazy ups and downs that you see on the 5-minute, right, are on the weekly candle are just inside this one candle. Right, so you could have a ton of pumps and dumps, but as long as you're trending to the upside, this one weekly candle is just going to creep to the upside, right? So it really depends. So scalping, right, I would say really happens on the 30-minute, or I would say 15-minute and down, maybe 30-minute and down. And then your day trades are probably happening. You know, this is you're holding it for about, you know, a trade for about a day or two maybe. And this is probably happening on the hourly time frames into the higher minute time frames. And then your real swing trades are going to be, you're going to be looking for your trades on the daily, the weekly, higher time frames like this. And it really depends on what you're looking for. But just to show an example here, if you look at this kind of, like, let's just look at this volume profile, right? It takes you, right? Let's see. Actually, I'll look at this one because it's a little bit more local. Let me go ahead and, yeah, let me go ahead and hide some of this stuff, and this will answer everything. And then I'll get into exactly why Matic pumped here, guys, because there is something very specific that I was looking at today that was kind of very clear to what happened. And I think you guys can take a lot of value away from this and potentially spot some short squeezes before they happen by using this technique on a completely free platform that I'll share with you guys in just a minute. But just to answer Al Jr.'s question, right, have a look here, right? So right here, we have a volume profile. And I only use in the volume profiles because this is typically what I look at, right? This is what I'm a huge volume profile guy. I use these every day. So let me go down to the 5. We'll go down to something like the 5-minute because this will be like the most extreme difference, right? So let's pull a volume profile on the 5-minute right here, right? So if I'm looking at the volume profile here on the 5-minute, right? Now this is very similar. You got a range here, right? Come up to the weekly, very similar to the range that we're looking at here, right? Looks the same, but they're just different time frames. On the 5-minute, how long on average, right? And again, this is always going to change. How long does it take you to get from a deviation below the range all the way to the high? About an hour and 25 minutes, right? So if I were trading this volume profile on the 5-minute, right, this is probably what I'd be looking at, right? I'd probably be looking for an entry as you deviate below the low. Maybe I find like 1-minute bullish divergences or something like that. Let's just assume you had confirmations here. And you would I would look to trade this, right, up to the POC and then up to the value area high. And that winds up taking you, again, about an hour to do it, right? And just to get another little, come on. There we go. So it takes about, an hour, right? Now, if I go to the weekly and I'm trading this larger volume profile, you have to understand that 5-minute profile, you could kind of see it here, right? It's just like in that weekly candle. It's just somewhere in here, right? And that probably happened, that little 2% move probably happened from here to there, right? Like tiny little, that's just all happening in that one candle. But on the weekly time frame, if I were to look at a similar trade, right, I would look for a deviation below the low. This is actually decent confirmation here. You have a lower low on your price action, a higher low on your momentum waves, right? You get the bull div, right? And I wouldn't just trade based off this, right? But let's just say, hey, I got a confirmation. I'm going to take the long. I'm going to look to take it up to the POC. I'm going to look to take it up to the value area high, right? Now, how long does it take to get up to that value area high? Well, let's measure it, right? Take it from the low all the way to the high. This wound up taking 77 days, right? So, and that's a huge difference. The difference between the 5-minute time frame and the weekly time frame is massive. But that's like the difference, right? So hopefully that kind of gives you a perspective on how different time frames play out. And then, if you looked at the daily, right, you could look at a daily time frame. Right. And you could, potentially look at the same range, or you could even look at a smaller range. It really depends on a lot of different things, right? Are you looking at this on the daily? Are you looking at this on the daily? All that matters, right? But hopefully that kind of shows you the difference, right? If you were to look for a long on the 5-minute, you're expecting it to play out, it's not always going to be an hour, but around an hour, right? I mean, about around an hour for the example that I showed you. And then on the weekly, a similar trade took 77 days, right? So that it's always going to change. It's always going to be different depending on what you're looking at, right? But, in that, hopefully that kind of gives you insight into like how this stuff works, right? Like the difference between the different time frames. So shout out to Al Jr. Hopefully that helps you out, bro. And hopefully you're still in here. And hopefully that answers your question. But other than that, guys, let's go ahead and break down Matic here because Matic is looking very interesting. Can we continue this pump to the upside? Market Cypher would seem to think so, right? So if we take a look here at the weekly, and this is something we were looking at last night, we are printing a green dot here on Market Cypher B. This is oftentimes a pretty good sign, right? Especially when you're near this oversold line on Market Cypher B. We don't have a bullish divergence like we did back here. That was the last thing that was able to bring us all the way back up to the high of this range. But, these green dots very often, right? You could just kind of measure these, right? Like even this one didn't play out that much. Weekly green dot still wound up giving you 50% pump. This one wound up giving you a 150% pump, right? This one right here wound up giving you a 112% pump. This one right here, although didn't even play out as much, wound up giving you about 83%, right? Like even this one didn't play out that much, but even on that it was even a red candle, but even that weekly green dot wound up giving you about a 19% pump, right? And that's at a different point in the market. That was in the bear market, in a huge downtrend, a different situation than what we're seeing right now. So even with just the green dot, this could potentially be good because number one, the green dots on the weekly typically give us big moves up. On top of that, we have these higher hourly time frames starting to cross over into the green. This is a good sign in my opinion because if you guys remember, very often we look at the daily green dot with the 90-minute money flow crossovers being kind of like the perfect storm for a big move up, right? Or in the context of the daily. And that 90-minute money flow crossover is kind of what really starts the bigger move. This is very similar with the weekly and the 10-hour, right? So, as we see that money flow crossover on the 10-hour, with that, while that green dot is printing, this could potentially be bullish. And not to mention that we are also not only holding a key level of support, which is a monthly horizontal. Whoops. bada boom, right? This would be a very, very key level to close above. If we could close above this monthly, right? I'll even label this as monthly. Where are we? Right here, right? Hold that as a monthly. If we close this, weekly and monthly candle above this level, the longer we can hold above this level, the better on all the different time frames, right? But this is a huge, huge level of support to hold, right? And honestly, this monthly candle, although we have 10 days left for this to, break down again, which hopefully we don't have to deal with, this will be a very, very, very bullish monthly candle in my opinion. This would be like a pretty nice bullish hammer candle if we could close it looking something like this. This long wick on the bottom end is bullish, right? Showing that the sellers tried to push it down and then it all got eaten back up. And on top of that, looking at your volume profiles here, guys, when price has imbalance, right? When the sellers overpower the buyers, right here, right? This is where we basically have balance in the market where the buyers and the sellers agree on this price range. When we go above, they look at it as overbought, right? And when we go below, this is considered cheap. They buy it back into the range. This looks expensive. They short it back into the range, right? And as we are sitting here, when you get the imbalance and finally break down out of the range, right, this is where price will do one of two things, right? It is either going to find new balance, right, which in my opinion would either, it's a little too soon to tell if we're going to find new balance here, but shout out to the sneakers, but like basically you're going to get imbalance and you're either going to create new balance, right, start a new range somewhere, or you're going to hunt out previous balance, right? So we did actually have a previous value area down here, but the good news is we didn't really hang out down there, right? So if I pull this old range, bada boom, bada bing, right, just roughly, and I extrapolate this over to the right, you could see we did wind up, and again, if I pulled this more accurately, I could probably, it would probably be very apparent. Let me pull that, bada boom, and that looks pretty good. Boom, right? So we did actually come into this value area, but we did not hang, well, here we didn't hang out in it either, right? But you can see we didn't really hang out in here very long, right? And actually, funny enough, it came right down to that value area low. But here's the thing, right? That's your previous area of balance. So when you get that imbalance to the downside, price is going to do one of two things, right? You're either going to come down here, you're going to hunt out this previous balance, or maybe you come lower and you start new balance, right? But we didn't hang out in here, and now price is now broken out of this old previous area of balance. And where is that next major value area that price is going to hunt, right? And this is just auction market theory. The idea that price is always hunting fair value. Price is always going to look for that fair value. This is why these value areas act as magnets. And that's why I extrapolate these levels to the right all the time. And you can see this didn't just only work here. It also worked right here. So it's very important to understand this. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Stop. Thank you for doing that, bro. I got this pinned now. Thank you very much for that. But, as we look here, we did not hang out in this value area, and now we've left this area of balance, right? Now, sure, we have a little bit of local balance here, a little local balance here, but the next major value area is sitting up here between about 61 cents and $1.05. So if we continue up here, it is going to be very likely, especially if we could flip that monthly level to support, very likely that we're going to at least seek out this area as the next target, right? Price is just naturally going to be gravitated towards this level, right? So even if we get a little correction here, maybe we go down and test that monthly, get a little bit of like somewhat of a head and shoulders here, and then that could potentially break you up into this area of balance, and then this value area low becomes your doorway to higher prices, right? So I'll mark this as value area low, and I'll even add doorway to higher prices, right? So now we know, and if you watch this channel for any amount of time, you will know, typically, when we get up to these doorways to higher prices, more often than not, when we break above them, it does wind up giving us a move at least deeper into that value area, targeting the POC and the value area high. So between the green dot on the weekly, the money flow crossover into the green on the 10-hour, this is at least looking like we could get a potential continuation, and if we could get up to that value area low, it would obviously be very key resistance. However, as we know, once you get above it, that could eventually turn into your doorway to higher prices, bringing you up to that POC value area high between 60 and $1.05, 60 cents and $1.05. So Matic, another thing I want to look at here with you guys is what caused this big pump to the upside, right? Why did Matic pump? And this is, not a guaranteed this is not really the only reason we saw this pump, but I want to show you guys something that I look at when we look at CVD to try to predict these moves from happening. And let me just go ahead and hide some of this. Let me just hide all of this stuff just so I can go ahead and explain it, and I'll actually leave this here. And what we're looking at here is CBD, right? Now, without getting too much into this, when you look at your margin, stablecoin margin contracts here, this is futures CBD. This is letting you know, I don't pay attention to the numbers on the side. I don't pay attention to the actual values, but what I'm paying attention to here is direction, right? And as this CBD line comes down, this is letting us know that more people are shorting than longing, right? So what can we tell from that, right? In this range, a lot of people were shorting into these lows, expecting Matic to break down lower, right? Basically, as I have written here, late shorts entering at the bottom, right? They just think this thing's going to go down forever. Oh my God, Bitcoin's going to 3K. Bitcoin's going to 0. All the alts are going to 0. We're going to short here at the bottom, right? Obviously, not a good thing to do. Let me fix that. Man, I'm not going to be able to. Dang, I'm not going to be able to undo that. I'll have to redraw these lines. But let me get the. So as we have this CVD line coming down, this is letting us know that more people are shorting than longing at the bottom, right? Typically not what you want to do, right? Now, in the contrary, right, what is your spot CVD indicating, right? This is just showing you people buying or selling on spot, right? And as you can see here, as these degenerate futures traders were shorting on leverage, right, into these lows, spot market was buying up, right? Just buying and holding the asset, right? And then eventually, as these people are shorting, their stop losses are going to be sitting likely somewhere above these highs, right? You're going to have all the liquidations and stop losses sitting above these highs, right? If they're short here, their stop losses and their liquidation levels, depending on how high the leverage they're using is going to be sitting somewhere above this range high, right? And that is what creates the liquidity in the market, right? That is what we call liquidity. And what did I just say in the beginning of the stream? What happens when you push into liquidity? All these shorts getting wrecked and stopped out and liquidated. This creates market buy pressure. When you get stopped out of a long or liquidated out of a long, it creates market buy pressure, right? So as you start to come up here and you start to stop these people out and liquidate them, that's what creates the big push to the upside. And you're able to identify this stuff by looking at CVD. So you know, hey, everyone's shorting here, right? That means that there's likely a lot of liquidity sitting above this high, but look at the spot market buying and holding, right? That is eventually going to push price up. And once it cracks those highs and breaks into into that liquidity, that's where you see the explosion to the upside. Does that make sense? Hopefully, watch that again if you have to. Hopefully, that makes sense to you guys. And again, here's the thing. It's not just the short squeeze that happened, right? You also have a lot of people FOMO longing, right? You have a lot of people just buying Matic thinking it's going to the moon, right? And to be quite honest, with the way Market Cipher B looks, it looks like we could potentially continue this push up. And by looking at the actual... I'm not going to pull it up because I'll have to load it up. But we actually have a lot of shorts continuing to open on this move to the upside. So it's like the late shorts, like they just never, it's like just for revenge trade, right? They don't learn their lesson from getting wrecked. They just continue to short on the big move up. It's like this thing has to go down, it has to go down. But what does it actually do? It actually adds to the potential short squeeze, right? So as long as shorts are opening into this pump, right, they're going to continue to get wrecked, which is only going to add fuel for the move to the upside, right? And we also have a lot of longs coming in, right? We also have a lot of people buying on spot, right? So there's other reasons why price is pumping, but that short squeeze is very likely why we saw this big pump to the upside. And hopefully that shows you guys how you can actually spot that stuff in the market. And that is what we call free sauce to go. So there you go. Hashtag value. Shout out to Pennywise. Drop a hashtag value if you just learned something. And if you think that is going to, shout out to Mark Dutch said, ooh, sheesh. Frankie giving away premium content. Yeah, I mean, this is stuff we've talked about on the stream before. Actually, I know he's just joking, but this is actually stuff we talked about specifically back here, right here. We saw the exact same thing, and I don't think I could go back in time enough on Coinalyze to actually point this out, but this is the same thing that we saw happening right here, right? We actually saw the futures CVD, like futures were just consistently shorting into this uptrend, right? They're short, building up that liquidity above. And we actually talked about this on the live stream at the time. And I think I actually made a video saying, like, warning, short squeeze potentially incoming, talking about, hey, if spot keeps buying up here and these degenerates just keep shorting into the uptrend, very likely we're going to see price pop into that liquidity and give us an explosion to the upside. I actually have the post. I actually warned the premium the day before it happened, pointing to this actually happening. And it's going to take too long to find it. But yeah. I mean, maybe if I pull up BTC, buy bit, right? If I pull up a higher time frame, I may be able to go back in time and show you guys that the same exact thing was happening. I think it might be worth it for educational purposes. Yeah, here it is, right? Let me pull it up. CVD, right? And if you want to look for this, Coinalyze is absolutely free, no strings attached. I'm not affiliated in any way, shape, or form. It's just very useful information, obviously. So yeah, I like to look at the stable coin margin contracts. You could also look at the coin margin contracts. Oftentimes they'll be the same, but I look at this, and I also look at, you could also look at aggregated future CVD, and then I look at spot CVD, right? And we had the exact same thing happening here, right? You had your future CVD coming down, right? You had price trending up, and spot CVD was coming up, right? And this tells you that the degenerates were shorting into the uptrend because the future CVD is showing you more people are shorting than longing, right? But what's happening? Price is coming up, right? And spot CVD, people are buying and holding on spot. Eventually, that is just going to push price up. And then what happens? Once you break these highs and break into that liquidity above, explosion to the upside. You're not going to find free sauce like that out there all over the place. So there you go. Bada boom. Hopefully, you learned something. All right, let's go ahead and continue on. Shout out to Crypto Vol. Said perfect. Thank you. No problem. Let's see. Hi, Freggies. Adam on the same spot than Matic once it has reclaimed the value area low. So yeah, there you go. That is what I look for on Matic. Obviously, looking for that. Whoops. Looking for the higher time frame value area low. Again, between 60 and $1.05 if we can continue up. Doorway to higher prices, 61 cents. Now, if we take a look at Atom, I'll take a look at Atom as well before we break into the actual altcoin list. Let me see here. Atom. So yeah, Atom in a very, very similar position here. And this is something we were looking at recently as we were kind of hanging out below this value area, right? Not a lot of beautiful confirmation down here, to be honest, at the time. Right, you did have the daily bull div, right, as you deviate below the low. Now, wick, right, your wicks do oftentimes get filled, not 100% of the time, but oftentimes when you get those big wicks, they do wind up getting filled. But you did have somewhat of a divergence here on your body of the candles, right? And then once you get above that value area low, this is what opens the door to potentially get up to your POC, right? I'll actually come up to a... It's hard because when you change the time frames, guys, these levels do move slightly, and sometimes they just don't even populate. But this does open the door potentially to come up to your POC of the range. Flip that POC, you could potentially get back up to your value area high, sitting at about $6.50. Now, it's not as easy as saying, hey, we're above the value area low, 100%, you're just going to pump to $6.50. But very often you see this stuff play out, right? And I will be honest, taking a look at the higher time frames, very similar situation with the weekly green dot. Check the 10-hour money flow coming up here. Not as close, not getting the crossover just yet, but it is trending to the upside, which could be nice. Shout out to Dave Digital. Said like number 254 is Dave Digital's. Let's go. Shout out to Dave Digital. Drop those double D's in the chat for Dave. I see those sauce cans in the chat. Smash that like button, guys. If we get 550 likes, I don't know. We'll give away a bunch of stuff. Let's do it. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll just give away some stuff for fun. Maybe I don't even care. Shout out to Scott. Saying, what up, Dave? Let's go. Shout out to Scott. But yeah, let's go ahead and Dark Crash. Drink that water, baby. Okay. Shout out to Dave Digital. I don't know what a chocolate... anyway, I'm not going to say it out loud. Shout out to Dave Digital. I do know what you're saying. But anyway, 550. Shout out to Tyler Durden. Should we do 650? 750? Fun for who? Shout out to Tyler Durden. Tyler does the giveaways. Shout out to Tyler. But yeah. Let's continue on. But yeah, so Adam, getting above that value area low, this is key, right? I'll actually label this value area low. You want to hold above this level at 460. As long as you remain above this level, we could potentially start the journey up to our POC, which currently is sitting, right? At least the POC I'm watching, right? You could potentially pull your range differently, but you can see this POC has been very reliable. But holding above that 460 zone could open the door to the POC. One thing I want you guys to pay attention to is the fact that we do have the local golden pocket 786 sitting right here between 508 and 493, right? So this is the level you want to pay attention to because if this is going to just continue the downtrend, we could potentially put a lower high in here, but that's just a local level, right? It might just be noise before finally getting up to that POC. So kind of the macro analysis here would be hold the value area low, look up towards that POC, could be nice, right? I mean, we could take a look at the CVD as well. Let's see. Atom Take a look at the Bybit perps. Bada boom. Get rid of this. Pull up the CVD. So, and then we'll pull up a higher time frame. Look at something like the 4-hour. I mean, yeah, and this isn't just like, I want to be clear, this isn't just something that you can look at and be like, oh my God, it's 100% certain. But what I like to do with this is like, what does the CVD? It's telling us a story. What does this tell us about what is actually happening in the market, right? Why is this actually happening, right? Well, what we could say is for sure CVD is coming down, right? So we know more people are shorting within this range, right, than longing, right? Consistently coming to the downside. And I would probably look at this a little bit more locally. So right there, right? So like even here, price is in an uptrend locally, right? But more people are shorting. Everyone is shorting into this uptrend, right? What's happening on spot? It's coming up, right? So people are buying and holding, and what does that tell us about the market, right? That's telling us that this uptrend locally is not being fueled by leverage, right? Or by just market orders, right? This is or not market orders, right? But this is not being fueled by the futures market, right? This is being fueled by the spot market buying and holding, right? So the difference here is that these people buying, right? If the spot market keeps buying and somehow people just short the price and it pushes the price down, spot's not going to get liquidated. But if spot is buying and holding, pushing the price up consistently, eventually you're going to wreck all the people who are shorting into this downtrend, right? Now, the major levels I would watch to see those squeezes happen is probably going to be, right, you want to think to yourself, if you were shorting here, or anywhere up here, where would your stop loss have to be? Well, based off traditional technical analysis, right, if we pull that short position here, if I were going to be shorting here, to be a sound trade, right, you would probably want to have your stop loss above a previous swing high, oftentimes like a significant swing high, which would probably be that this one would be the most recent significant swing high. So even if you think this thing's going to nuke to nothing, right, your stop loss is probably got to be somewhere in this range. So there's probably a lot of liquidity sitting in this range. So if price squeezes up into these levels, starts cracking these highs, more people are going to get wrecked, and it's just going to be a cascade effect. And then once you break this, right, you can see that people have been shorting this market for a while. And once you break these big high, this more significant swing high, that could be where things really start to squeeze to the upside. And that's it. That's the sauce, guys. That's the sauce. So that's kind of just an idea of how you can look at the market, right? And it doesn't guarantee that's going to happen. This is all kind of like theoretical, right? But that's pretty much what happened. What it seems to have happened on Matic, right? It's very hard to like really guarantee that was the case. But that's just kind of like the theory of how I look at the market, and it's a sound theory, right? I didn't just like make this up in my sleep, right? This is something that many traders use. So there you go. All right, let's see. Let's see, bada boom. Yeah, shout out to Kate Diggity. Said Frankie talks about short squeezes 70% less than other channels. If he's talking about it, that's probably pretty bullish. Shout out to Kate Diggity. Yeah, I think a lot of people, right? I probably just taught a lot of people, but like, here's the thing, right? I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that would probably think that's not the case. But I think a lot of people just kind of throw the term short squeeze around without actually understanding what it is, right? I think a lot of people just see a random pump in the market, right? And they just go, short squeeze. Oh my God, we got a short squeeze. But it wasn't an actual, like, I've literally seen this before where people bring up short squeezes and like you look at the CVD, you look at everything, and it's like very clearly not a short squeeze, right? There was like a big limit buy or whatever it is, right? But I think a lot of people just kind of use the buzzword of, especially on YouTube, of short squeeze as just like a random pump out of nowhere. And a lot of the time, right, that is the case, right? And I'm sure there's a lot of people that do bring that up correctly, but I do think a lot of people just kind of throw it around as a buzzword. But yeah, like I look at that a lot where we see the CVDs kind of fighting each other, where you have that divergence. And it doesn't happen very often on the higher time frames. And when it does, you do typically see those big moves. I showed you back on Bitcoin, right? That was like kind of the last major one that I was looking at. So there you go. Hopefully you guys are learning something. Smash that like button if you just learned something. Let's go ahead and continue on here. Shout out to Dave Digital says, let's see. Shout out to Dave. Have you ever eaten a chocolate starfish? Shout out to Dave Digital. I've eaten chocolate oranges. I've eaten chocolate bunnies. I've eaten chocolate Anyway, shout out to Dave Digital. Oh my God, Tony D said Dave behave. Oh, shout out to Dave Digital. Anyway, you're funny, bro. But let's go ahead and continue on. So that's the sauce on Matic and Adam, right? So yeah, Adam looking like it is in a very similar situation here. And again, I don't want people seeing this, right? This does not guarantee that that's the case. Spot CBD really came up here on Adam, which is interesting. Very, very interesting. I'm not going to get too far into that. So kind of advanced. But, yeah, not a guarantee, right? But oftentimes that is what you see happen. So there you go. There's the key levels on Adam. Again, you're in that local, in that macro volume profile. So, 460 is going to be that key level to hold. All right, let's go ahead and see. Shout out to Hassam said, are you in an open Matic position, Frankie? No, I'm not holding a Matic position right now. Unfortunately, I was talking to the premium Discord earlier. Same thing on Bitcoin. I was actually really tempted to open up a kind of like an aggressive entry on a long here at the POC as we were playing around with this earlier this morning. But I do feel responsibility, right? And it is really hard sometimes as a content creator, right? Sharing my trading journey with you guys. I feel a responsibility to be careful what I say, right? Because although, I was bringing up, I may have wanted to open an aggressive long position here at the POC, which obviously would have been a great idea. But, using good risk management and knowing that new traders have a natural urge to FOMO, I don't like to really push people, right? Or even push the idea of opening aggressive positions like that. Obviously, more often than not, we are right about which direction price is going to go. It's how we make money trading, right? And how we call these moves on the live stream. But for the most part, I was actually waiting for a key level down here. I was really waiting for the value area low. And when I'm looking for a very specific setup, I really do like to have the discipline to wait for those key levels, right? Now, granted, we didn't really, Matic had a huge move. This 4% move is, seems big on Bitcoin, right? But we're just really still in the range here. So I'm totally fine letting that move happen and letting it go without me, right? Because over time, if you start to and granted, this is not FOMOing in. I had great reason to look for an aggressive entry here. But I don't want people thinking that it's just a FOMO entry, right? Because more often than not, you're going to be better off waiting for your actual trade setup. Even sometimes if you get a short squeeze to the upside or whatever the case may be, more often than not, even if you get a push up, oftentimes you do come down for that setup to present itself. So yeah, was kind of looking for an aggressive entry here, but I decided to sit it out and wait for the setup. Didn't come down to the value area low. No big deal. I'm totally fine letting that go without me, right? One of the biggest keys to trading, in my opinion, right? Understanding that you do not need to catch every move, right? If you missed this long position, right, you could have caught the short position, which we took in the premium, right? But, it does not matter, right? There's always another opportunity, especially if you're scalping or day trading. There's always another opportunity on the chart. So for me, there is zero FOMO when it comes to trades, right? It's jump in, grab your money, jump out, right? Jump into the short, let it dump, take your money, get out, right? If you get out of your short here, and here's the thing, guys. When you're trading, think of it this way, right? Instead of trading and looking for the massive move to the upside and trying to get rich overnight, this is how most people lose their money. All it takes is $200 a day, and you can make a yearly salary trading, right? It's not easy, but $200 a day. And I struggle with this sometimes, right? Sometimes I'll be up $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, whatever it is, right, in a day. And sometimes I also get the urge. I'm not a perfect trader, right? Sometimes I'll get the urge to hold my trade and be like, oh, especially as a content creator, right? Because sometimes it's entertaining and it's good for content to hold a bigger trade and just let it go and show that big trade. But at the end of the day, $2,000 a day is a lot of money, right? And that's for a decently experienced trader. But for a new trader, $200 a day, you can that's enough to make a yearly salary, right? A livable yearly salary, right? And it's funny because I see some of my trades and I'm sometimes I'll hold them too long and I'll get stopped out for a small profit when I could have just locked in a couple grand for the day. And this is something I struggle with, especially as a content creator. It adds even more emotion into my trading. It makes it even more of a psychological challenge for me because sometimes we want to hold it for the content, and that's just not how trading works, right? So just understand that, right? $200 a day is a good yearly salary. And that's definitely possible. You guys seem like it's not hard to make that much, right? And some of our trades, We pulled right now. I think like the big one that I'm holding, right? My long from 40K, right, was turned $600 into 5 figures, right? It's a little bit lower than 5 figures now. It's like 8-9K, I think. But you know, you could easily turn a low amount of money into a large win. But really, it's the consistent, moderate gains over time that are actually going to turn you into a profitable trader. Don't hold for the home runs. Singles and doubles will make you a millionaire. Grand slams and home runs, going for grand slams and home runs will blow up every account you ever had, right? Take it from me. I've done it. I've done it all, right? I've blown up more accounts than anybody in here. I can almost guarantee you that. So keep that in mind. It doesn't need to be a huge trade every time because you're going to wind up just holding on, and it basically turns into gambling, right? So there you go. Let's see. Shout out to Today Digital said, do you sell roofs? Are you in Houston? DMs are open. 10, 50, 50. Shout out to Dave Digital. Dave Digital, are you a solar salesman? Shout out to Dave. But let's see. Let's see. Shout out to Golden Valley said, I'll take that bet, Frankie. I've got you beat. Shout out to Golden Valley. I'm sure a lot of people feel like that. But yeah, and this is, these struggles are always going to pop up. So just keep that in mind. Storm restoration roofing. Is that true, Dave? Is that really what you do? Shout out to Dave. Let's go. But there you go. All right, let's go ahead and continue on. Yeah, shout out to Cuz Like and Bump. It said, yeah, like anyone holding XRP this whole time could have made 2 years' salary day trading on other coins, then bought back in at basically the same price. Yeah, shout out to Cuz I Can Bump It. I'm glad I stopped. Hey, shout out to Runes for Nerds. Shout out to you. Said, thanks, Frankie. That was the most important thing I learned the hard way. Lost 20% of my portfolio during Japan carry trade because I wanted because I waited for the bounce with no stop loss, but there was none. Yeah, shout out, like, take your money. Like, this is what I always say, right? You have to pay yourself when you're in the green because very quickly you will come into the red, right? Like, your unrealized profit is not as exciting as it feels, right? Because it's not your money, right? It's only your unrealized profit. So, and again, right? Everyone struggles with this, even experienced traders. Me, from time to time, again, even with the YouTube channel, that added psychological struggle for me. Sometimes I do want to hold it, right, for the content, and it doesn't usually work out, right? Like, it's usually I get stopped out in a lower profit than I thought, and then what happens, right? You don't make as much money, and you don't get that big trade, right? So, just take that in mind, right? I'm just sharing with you guys what works for me, and things that I've learned along my journey. And hopefully you guys can learn from that. So let's go ahead and continue on to our next altcoin, which is DOT. Got a little sidetracked, but this stuff is important, guys, especially if you want to make money trading. Not gamble, right? Not gamble. Make money trading. 2 different things. 2 separate different things. What's with this? What's with this? What's with these reflections? Unbelievable. But anyway, let's go ahead and continue on. A lot of this stuff, guys, even Polkadot, similar situation. However, we don't have the daily bull div like we do on Atom. You could consider this somewhat of an exaggerated bull div, right, where you have the higher lows on your momentum waves, but just equal lows on your price action. Typically, these are less explosive than regular bullish divergences, or sometimes they just don't play out. But, we are below the value area. The next likely play, this is pretty simple analysis, right? Key level, doorway to higher prices. It's going to be 496, in my opinion. Get above that level. That opens your doorway to come into this range between 550 and 640, right? Yeah, that's what I would say, right? Because you kind of have like two little volume profile or 2 little value areas here, right? Again, between about 550 to about 640, and then the POC to this local value area high is about 640 all the way up to 729. Whether you want to look at this as 2 profiles, or if you want to just kind of look at this as one whole profile, you can kind of do that. It's a little bit wonky. But yeah, I would expect if you could get above that 491 level, that's going to be your doorway, at least up to the 50s, 550 to about, 640. And let me actually pull this fib real quick. Yeah, like this is pretty confluent, this area. Bada boom. We even pull this up to here. So yeah, if you can get above this level, I would look for a push up to, again, that zone right here. Yeah, 550. It's kind of hard, right? Because you have a lot of levels here. But yeah, I hold this level. I'd expect to push up towards that POC to keep it simple, right? You could find these local levels all over the place, but flip that value area low. You're looking to get up to the POC at 640, right? Flip the POC at 640. Obviously, you have these other local levels of resistance, but you could start your journey up to about 850. Yeah, 850. So there you go, right? And polka dot, right? Weekly. Yeah, green dot looking to print, right? So, yeah. Not impossible to come back down either, right? Like, this is not all guaranteed, right? Who knows what can happen here. But, yeah, like green dot on the weekly, if you could print that, 6-day green dot looking to print, you have your 5-day, 4-day green dot, right? So there are reasons to potentially continue up. And the nice thing is you got a very important level here to potentially flip to support and get the bigger move up. So there you go. That's what I'd be looking at. You could even pull this volume profile. Yeah, it's kind of wonky, to be honest. But there you go. That's what I'd be looking for. And I'll just pull these horizontal levels so you guys can get these zones if you just want to pull the same exact range that I have. Pull it up on the daily, spawn the levels. Oh, shout out to Golden. Let's go. Shout out to Golden. Get to those Frankie Candles memberships once again. Let's go. Shout out to Golden. Must have had word. Must have gotten word that Tony D was gifting those memberships. Let's go. Drop those golden emojis. If you have just gotten a membership, go to your emojis. You'll have new unlocked custom emojis. Drop that golden. If you don't know who Golden is, he's one of the most generous people on earth. And he also has a solid gold helicopter, which is pretty cool. So shout out to Golden. Let's go. Thank you so much, bro. I appreciate you so much. You do not have to do that, but you just continuously give back to the Mafia. I appreciate you more than you could possibly imagine, Golden. Thank you so much, bro. And I know the Mafia feels exactly the same. All right, let's go ahead and continue on. Sam says, bro. Shout out to Sam. Golden is golden. Shout out to Stefan. Yeah, dude, unbelievable. It's unstoppable. But let's go ahead and continue on here. We took a look at .iota. I don't know. My ears are popped right now, guys. Sorry. Guys are like, why is he holding his nose? Let's see. Let's take a look at IOTA. I mean, I'll be honest, right? Like, a lot of these coins are in very similar situations, right? Just in their bear, deviating below their value area, or deviating below their bear market ranges. Bada boom. Boom, boom. So yeah, you're a little bit further away here. Yeah, you don't really have the bullish divergences. You do have the weekly green dot. Money flow crossover into the green as well. So yeah, I mean, all this structurally is looking very similar. So I will give you some local levels as well, from the high to the low. Bada boom. Shorts. And let me pull up. Do we have any significant weekly or monthly levels here as well? Bada boom. This is a weekly, and this. Okay, no monthly. So we got the weekly there. That's tapped. That's tapped. Okay, not a weekly MPOC, though. It is just a weekly level. Okay, so, yeah, here's some levels, right? This is, weekly value area low. Like, this is your doorway to higher prices. Get above that weekly. Get above this value area low between 18, I'd say 18 cents and about 0.1839, right? Get above that value area low. That's your doorway to higher prices. We'll just keep this, pretty simple here. Come on, let me label the dang line. There we go. Value area low. So you got to get above that zone. Locally, I would watch this, and you probably have a daily level in line with this. No, not really. No fresh dailies, at least. So, yeah, I mean, big zone of resistance here, but if you can get above this 786, I think you have a decent chance of attacking the value area low. Get above that value area low. Start working your way up towards this POC. Sitting at about 24 cents, right? So there you go. I mean, it's just a game of ranges, right? Like, just like on any other time frame. Now, this is a little bit of a weird range, but, I mean, you're deviated below your range. You've even made new lows here. So, yeah, like you deviate below that low, you're looking to get back up to the high. Deviate the high, look to go back towards the POC low. Deviate the high again, look to go back to the POC, value area low, and we are now once again deviated below the low. So we get back up here. Very likely we could start that journey up towards that value area high. What the heck is going on? Yo, shout out to Golden. Unbelievable once again. That was a lame. There we go. Shout out to Golden. Let's go, bro. Gifting another 50 Frankie Candles memberships. What is that? That's 150 Frankie Candles memberships given away between Golden and Tony D. Let's go. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to Golden. Thank you so much for doing that, bro. Yo, shout out to Dave Digital. Said Tony D getting membership smoked. Shout out to Dave Digital. Golden, yo, guys, drop those golden emojis if you just got a membership. I think that might be everybody in the chat right now. Shout out to Golden. Thank you so much for doing that, bro. WTF is... bingo hall noise. Shout out to Mark Dutch. Yo, Golden is Tony DD. Tony Double D. Shout out to Out of the Bins. Let's go. Golden is clutch. Shout out to Golden, bro. Thank you so much. Like literally the most generous person we've ever met. Unbelievable. Why do I not see Golden in chat though? Is it probably because of all these notifications just keep pushing him up? Shout out to Golden. We love you, bro. Thank you so much. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Mr. 420. Said I fell asleep to your voice, Frankie. What did you do, Golden? Shout out to Mr. 420. Unbelievable. Shout out to Golden. You're the GOAT, bro. Thank you so much. But let's go ahead and continue on. I walked away to catch a free membership and the day. Shout out to Golden Valley. Let's go. He says, shout out to Frankie. Let's get it, bro. Let's get it. All right, let's go ahead and continue on. Shout out to Dr. Crimson's girlfriend. What is going on? Welcome in here. Let's go ahead and continue. Bada boom, bada bing. AVAX. Let's take a look at AVAX, and then we'll take a look at NOS or NOS. Shout out to, is it Gen Z? I think Gen Z always wants to look at that. We could take a look at NOS. But let's see here. On AVAX, yeah, I mean, same thing. Daily money flow coming up. I do think there's a possibility we can continue up here. I'm not going to lie. Like, on a lot of this stuff. Money flow does look like we could get a continuation. Doesn't look half bad, right? 5-day green dot printing, 6-day green dot printing, weekly green dot, right? I mean, here's the thing, right? They're not just weekly green dots, right? It's a weekly green dot here. It's in the oversold level, right? The negative 60 line on Market Cipher B. This is pretty nice, right? Very often, this is like what happened last time we deviated below this volume profile, right? And we have that weekly green dot, no bull div or anything. It's actually very similar here. You get to push through the volume profile, right? In my opinion, right, even if you're not looking at the local profiles and you're just looking at this higher up profile, this main profile above, right? You know, it's not even that big of a move as what we had down here. But again, right, like green dot, you know, again, just because this green dot played out to the tune of 640% does not mean this one will. But we'll say this actually, 174% up to the next value area high, the next significant value area high. Not impossible here. Not impossible. It's definitely, now obviously you do have some local levels as well. So I'll just give you the local levels here on AVAX as well. Yeah, as long as we can remain above this, like this zone right here is going to be absolutely key, right? Because as long as we could stay, it's nice. Because once we got in here, if we couldn't get above this value area high, it would have likely led to much, much, much more downside, right? Filling the rest of this bigger volume profile, right? POC somewhere in the middle here. But the fact that we're able to break back out of here is very good, right? We may have just avoided, like, death here, right? Very good that we got above this level. So as long as we hold above this blue zone, you know, I would anticipate a potential flip at this value area low for a potential range fill up to 27.23. Yeah, 100%. Not 100% to play out, but yeah, like, I mean, even if you're going for the full golden pocket retracement of this entire move down, right, from $32 all the way down to $17, right, like this, yeah, like 27 bucks, right? Get above that value area low, 27 bucks is likely, because not only are you looking at it in terms of the volume profile, but if you're going for that golden pocket retracement, very likely you get up there as well, especially with the weekly green dot, right? Now, if we didn't have a weekly green dot, right, and things were looking super bearish down here, I'd probably be looking at more of a local retracement, right, where we maybe, maybe this retracement where we'd likely reject, put in a lower high, and get a bigger move down. But unlikely, in my opinion, as long as we confirm these green dots, because remember, they are printing. We want these to confirm before we actually see the big moves. But if we get those to confirm, unlikely that we just get this tiny little lower high and a big move down. Shout out to Harris, said Jasmine thoughts, please. Shout out to Harris. Thank you so much for that super chat, bro. I appreciate you. I will try to take a look at Jasmine here. We'll take a quick look at Nas. Shout out to Gen Z said, I will sell it every AVAX I hold. Shout out to Gen Z. But yeah, I will try to take a look at Jasmine right after we take a look at NOS. Just a reminder that super chats, although help me see them, does not guarantee that we take a look at your coin. Shout out to Flame says, Frankie, what does this sound? I don't know. What are you hearing? Flame, let me know. Let's see. Shout out to K Diggity. It's going to 0 next. All right, let's see. Shout out to Al Jr. said, thank you. Thanks, Frankie, catching up now with the answer. Sending thanks from about 25 minutes back. Shout out to Al Jr. I appreciate you, bro. Hopefully that was able to help you out and give you a better understanding of the time frames. Also, check the time frame videos on the channel. Should also be able to help you kind of understand how long time frames take to play out. But let's go ahead and continue on. Shout out to Flat Smack. Speaking of Flat Smack, welcome in, or good to see you in here, bro. Don't forget to flat smack that like button. And Golden, let's go, bro. Thank you so much for the $50 super chat. Said, winner of what? I just turned in. Driving in Nürburgring. Why can I not read that word? All day. Shout out to Golden. You just like, I just picture Golden driving like supercars through the mountains right now. I don't know why. Shout out to Golden, bro. Thank you so much for the super chat, bro. Shout out to Gen Z said, yo, that's $5, not 50. You're right, Gen Z. You're right. Shout out to Golden. Still thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate you, whether it's 5 cents, $5, or $500. I appreciate all the super chats. I don't care the price of them. Shout out to Golden, though. Oh no, Frankie doesn't know. yeah. Is that like a driving thing? I feel like it is. Yo, am I about to? Hang on, guys, hang on. I need to get to the bottom of this. I'm pretty sure it is. I think there's a reason. Hang on, this might all make sense in a second. Yup. Yeah, I knew it had something to do with crazy cars. Yeah. So I do know how do you say that? Nürburgring? I'm sure I'm butchering that like crazy. I mean, I know I am. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess there's a reason why I pictured you driving supercars through the mountains. That seems to be exactly what you're doing. Shout out to Golden, bro. Living the dream out there. Shout out to you. Bro, you got to send me, if you're driving in a 720S or something, bro, you got to send me a picture, bro. Yo, let's go. It's a European thing. Yeah, shout out to Gen Z. Yeah, I pictured him like driving through some kind of mountains in supercars. Nürburgring, basically. Okay, so it's not that easy to pronounce. Okay, shout out to K Diggity. Thank you for breaking that down. Yeah, French Toaster. I think that's where I might know that from back in the day when I used to play Forza. Yeah, that's why I recognize it. Unbelievable. Shout out to Golden, bro. Unbelievable. Well, have a great time, bro, and drive safe. Wear your seatbelt, bro, and send us cool pictures. All right, let's go ahead and continue on. That's funny. That wound up being exactly what it was. But, yeah, let's go ahead and check out Nas, and then we'll jump into Jasmine. Okay, so let's see here. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff structurally looks very similar. I will say this on Nas, if you pull up the VPVR, big gap above, right? And this could be, right? It is really, really, really funny because this is very confluent with the idea of the short squeezes, right? Now, I don't know what the short squeeze situation looks like on Nas. Just because it's in the same formation does not mean that you're guaranteed to see a giant short squeeze. But very likely, right, if we go back to Matic, right? And we take a look at the VPVR, right? You know, that short squeeze was just coincidentally right through this low volume gap, which is why, and again, quick moves down equal quick moves up, right? Low volume gap, but then also you have the idea that the short squeeze may happen once you break those highs, and it's exactly what happens, right? All that stuff is very, very confluent, if you will, right? And now you're kind of hanging out in this area of balance here. Not that we're just doing back, not that we're going back to just, you know, Matic TA here, but let's go back to Nas. All right, let's go ahead and see here. So, yeah, I will say this, you know, come up to the daily. Again, you know, quick move up, quick move down, right? Low volume gap, right? So, yeah, like this potentially break into that low volume gap, could see the quick move up. And where are we going to hunt out, right? What is that price going to be if we do wind up getting the breakout to these prices? I would be looking for price to go hunt out previous value, which is simply, not my opinion, simply fact, right? Not the only area of value, but the next significant value area I can see is sitting right here between 249 and 309. Very likely, in my opinion, if we get above these highs, could be a quick move up to 248 and potentially up to 311, right? If it's going to mimic what Matic did, right? Which may not be impossible, right? Let's check the weekly. You know, green dot is potentially looking to print here. 6-day green dot also looking to print. 5-day green dot is printing. And, you know, higher hourly time frame money flow, although not as beautiful as everything else, is trending technically to the upside. 12-hour looks kind of gross as far as money flow. But yeah, like the higher time frame analysis is very similar to Matic, right? And just keep in mind, right? I'll even mark out some of these volume-derived levels, right? I'll just actually do horizontal lines, right? So like you have a big ledge of volume here. Could be the doorway to higher prices. Small doorway to higher prices. Right? Because if you break this, in my opinion, you are likely to go seek out that next, right? Move quickly through that low volume gap, and where's price going to hunt, right? Even if you're not paying attention to the value areas, if you were just looking at this in terms of volume profiles, right? You expect price to fly through the low volume gaps, and you expect those high volume nodes, these big spikes in volume, to be a magnet for price, right? So you get above here, look to get sucked up towards that high volume node. Right? And then you add the actual analysis in there, and it all makes sense, right? You start to look at the market, auction market theory, and you start to think, hey, is the area where the net last fair value was, and if we get imbalance to the upside, we're likely going to seek out that range. Very simply put, that's what I would look for, I guess, Nosana. I don't know much about this. Hopefully that's the right NOS that you guys wanted to see. So there you go. Let's see, bada boom, bada bing. Ice Cold Chili Pepper said, "Def not 6 feet." I don't know. I wish I could prove it. I mean, I guess I could take a picture with a ruler. Be hard to prove right now though. Definitely not 5'3", guys. I swear. Don't check on that. I'm definitely not 5'3", though. Ask Wick. Wick actually met me in real life, and he was like, "Wow, dude, you are way taller than I thought." It's like literally, I must look short on camera. It's this dang chair that sinks down midstream. Everybody thinks I'm short. 6 foot. Actually, almost 6'1". Probably 6'1". But I give myself, I don't even say that, right? I'm probably 6'1" in full. But I'll just say 6 3/4, right? If we're going to nitpick. But yeah, it's actually funny because I'm actually very blind to height. It's pretty hilarious. Like if you're 6'9" or 5'2", if you're way shorter than me or way taller than me, I just see everybody as the same height as me. It's not until Mrs. Candles is like, "Oh wow, that you're this, whoever you're talking to was really short, or that guy was really, really tall." I'm like, "What?" I was like, "Thought he was my height." Like, no, he's 6'5", and I'm like, "Oh wow, I didn't even realize." I don't know why. I'm blind to height for some reason. But anyway, let's see. Keith said, "Frankie, give the wife the extra inch." Shout out to Keith. Let's see. Who cares about that 1 inch? Shout out to Mark Dutch. Not me. I do not care about the inch. Shout out to Skull Cruncher. Let's go. Shout out to you, bro. Thank you for the thank you for being here. Too many people out here taller than Doc. Shout out to Dr. Crimson's girlfriend. But anyway, I put lead in my. Gotta wait for the. I put lead in my heels too. Shout out to Cryptic Crabman. Yeah, let's see. Shout out to Jenzy said we're 6 feet exactly. Yeah. I don't know. I guess I give off short vibes. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny. I don't know why people are get so bent out of shape about height. I don't. Like I think I look like long and like awkwardly tall. Like I wouldn't mind being shorter. But a lot of people, I don't know, pay a lot of attention to height. I don't even see height. But anyway, let's see here. 6'2" on a good day. Shout out to Gen Z. Yeah, I'm 6'1.5" on my tippy toes. But anyway, let's continue on here. We got, let's take a look at Jasmine real quick. Bada boom. Don't forget, guys, that's actually I think it's a really good percentage here. But I believe, I'm going to pretend it's not a lot. Only 80% of people who watch this show are subscribed to the channel. Let's try to get that to 100%. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of our beginner series tutorials or live streams or market updates that we put when price actually moves. I haven't done a market update in a bit because price has been going sideways. But yeah, just taking a look at this chart, right? Jasmine is pretty much in the same exact position as when we left it, which was apparently a very long time ago, right? Because the last thing we were looking at was, I don't know where this daily naked point of control was coming from, but it wound up being support almost to the dollar where we wicked down to. Smash a like, D-Gens. Shout out to Gen Z. But yeah, simply clinging to this high volume node. Bada boom, bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like not much here. Like you have a bit of a high volume node coming from this area of consolidation here where we built up a little bit of value. So yeah, kind of hard to mark that out, to be quite honest with you, right? Because if I pull this, you could extrapolate this to the right. Yeah, I guess you could take this. So let me mark this out. Bada boom, bada bing. So yeah, so if we get above this, yeah, like your next real area of value, I mean, we kind of sliced through this. I mean, you could see very rarely these levels just don't get respected, right? Like, even though we sliced through this like hot butter, I mean, value area high was support. Once we got below the low, right to the value area low, bounce to the POC, big rejection, bearish retest on the value area low before the bigger breakdown, right? So it's never, very often, it is not just ignored completely. These levels are still very important. So I would say, technically, the next significant area of value here, if that's some kind of a head and shoulders, if we do break out, get above this high volume node, this is your next major level, right? 0.02287, get above that level, get a push up to your POC, flip the POC, look to go to the value area high. And then again, like this isn't even really the most significant value area, in my opinion, right? Really, in the long term, as long as you can fly through here, like really for the most part, like I would expect like pretty quick chop to the downside could be very similar. Even if you do get caught up in here a little bit, a pretty quick move, pretty big fall off in volume. The next significant high volume node, once you get out of this value area, is up here between about 0.02834 and about 0.03089. So that is what I'd be looking at on Jasmine. As far as market cipher, indicators, yeah, weekly green dot not quite there just yet. 5-day green dot not quite there yet. 3-day green dot not even printing yet. So yeah, a little bit lagging here as far as the green dots on the higher time frames. Money flow still coming out on the higher daily time frames for a lot of this stuff as well, so keep that in mind. But yeah, if this does follow suit, these are the levels I would look at and kind of how I would expect price to move through the gaps. Let's see. Shout out to Gen Z, said, what books do you recommend for trading? Trying to expand my knowledge. I'll be honest with you, Gen Z, I have not really read that many books. I'm like, even if any, from cover to cover when it comes to trading, to be honest. Most of my information that I've learned from trading has been from online. But I've heard, right, I have dabbled in some of them, honestly, like a long time ago. But Trading in the Zone, I believe it's Mark Douglas, is a really good one. And this is coming from like what other people have recommended in my journey. Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas is a really good one. I just know it's a really popular one, and I've seen a lot of Mark Douglas's stuff, although I haven't read the book. And a lot of his stuff is very, very good. I believe he's the one that talks about how when you're trading, right, with risk management, and he talks about how losses are a part of it, right? I'm pretty sure this is Mark Douglas. Maybe someone could correct me if I'm wrong. I'm almost positive. I saw a clip of him talking about how think of it as a casino, right? Not trading, but like think of any business, right? When you have a business, right, there's going to be expenses. Like, and do you think, like, if you're at a casino, do you think a casino sees somebody on a craps table winning $5,000? Do you think they're just like, oh, we got to shut the casino down, we lost money, right? No, because they know that over time their strategies and the way they have it set up is proven to make money over time. They don't care about the guy hitting the jackpot on the slots for 10K. They don't care about this guy making 5K over here or over here, because they know overall their strategy is profitable. And it's the same thing with trading, right? If you get stopped out for $300, right, you don't just give up and say it's a scam. But you just learn that if you have a strategy and a system over time that is profitable, you can afford these losses, right? They're in the plan. It's a cost of doing business. So there you go. So anyway, that Mark Douglas is a really good one. Trading in the Zone. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much the only one that I've kind of seen. I've seen a lot of like short clips of like quotes from that book that have been really helpful. So there you go. But here we go. Let me see. So this is Jasmine. So yeah, that is what I'd be looking at on Jasmine. And how we doing over here on time? Okay, yeah. So let me see. Hey, shout out to Wick589 says Alex O is now a daddy. Send him some grats. Shout out to Alex O. Hey, bro, congrats. Bro, you got a kid now. Official dad. Let's get it. Hey, Alex, you got to get him trading. I mean, I assume he was maybe born today. Hey, Alex, never too early, bro. Never too early. But seriously, bro, congrats. I don't know if this is I guess it's not. I guess it's your first kid. I'm sure you're going to be an amazing dad. And shout out to you, bro. Congrats. That's amazing. That is, that is awesome. Shout out to Alex L. Crypto. Let's get it. Let's go. Hey, get trading in the zone. Get him reading at, I assume maybe a couple minutes old. Shout out to Alex O. Congrats, bro. I hope everything is going well. Get him the book mentioned. Yeah, shout out to Gen Z. At Tony D. At Tony D. Let's get Alex's newborn trading in the zone so we can get him started early, making money in crypto. Let's go. But let's see here. We'll get one more in here. Tony D says on it. Let's get it. Shout out to Cuz I Can Bump It, or Kuzi Can, as I like to call him, says, get him some Bitcoin and don't touch it until he's 18. Yeah, shout out to Kuzi Can, or Cuz I Can. That's, hey, I wouldn't be getting, that's my plan. That's my plan. Through the Moon, shout out to Skull Cruncher. Says LMAO. Listen, I bet I'm right. Listen, I bet I right. Nor do I care. Good luck, shorters. Through the Moon. Shout out to Skull Cruncher. Let's go. Okay. Let me see. Let's get one more coin in here. AOIZ. AOIZ. Let's take a look at that. I don't think we've ever. What? AYZ? Do I have that right? Rose. That was the one. All right, let's take a look at Rose then. I was trying to think of what a bunch of people were looking for Rose. Okay, I'll be honest, right? Like, quick and dirty here, right? Like, in the almost the exact same situation as everything else, right? I would be looking at this as your current volume profile. What am I doing? I swear I've used TradingView before, guys. Boom. POC. Whoops. And value area high. Right, so this is your major volume profile. You could potentially break this range down as well. It's a little bit more sketchy, right, because you have that big deviation. So I would probably be paying mostly attention to this. And this macro, well, not macro, but yeah, I would say these are the levels on Rose, right? Now, it's in the same situation as a lot of this other stuff. Take a look at the weekly. Green dot about to print 6-day. Excuse me. Yeah, higher time frames are looking for the green dots. I mean, you want to remember, like, these fresh money flow crossovers are still not looking the best, right? We really ideally want to see his money flow come back up. But locally, right, we've gotten the big drop to the downside. We've hit this massive high volume node. And there's a pretty big, lack of volume above, right? Once you get above this high volume node sitting at about 0.06484, I would look for a potential move up to the golden pocket 786 at about 0.079 and 0.076. And then at that point, like, your next major value area, in my opinion, is like up here in the 9-cent zone. Flip that to support, likely move up to your POC at 12 cents, and you could look to potentially work your way into this area of value. And again, it's more about, in my opinion, right, finding the previous areas of balance, right? Because, like, even down here, like, what happens when you lose a range? There we go. Right, what happens when you get imbalance out of a range, right? Here's your previous, here's your previous area of balance, right? Here's your range. If you lose this range, you're going to anticipate price to seek out a previous area of balance, which is down here. What happens? Price bounces off that value area high, gets accepted into the range, goes to the POC, and just barely front runs the low, right? So technically, we're within this range, but as long as we can get out of this, the next place to look is going to be up there. Now, locally, this value area high is going to be very key, right? And this POC is going to be key support, right? So these are the levels I would look at. And, like, I'm going to take the fib off because you could just easily find that. But these are going to be the levels that I would look at on Rose, right? So you're really technically working within this range. But if you can get above this 7.5 cent zone almost, flip that to support. That opens up the door to come up into this old area of balance. So there you go. Again, money flow, not the best on the higher time frames, but we'll have to see. With the green dot, you're likely to get some kind of a push up here, in my opinion, at least locally. So with all that being said, guys, I think that's all the time I got for tonight's live stream. I appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning in and sticking around till the end of the stream. Shout out to Andrew. Says, don't get to listen too often, but I love your TA, Frankie. Shout out to Andrew. Well, hopefully it's able to help you out. Glad to hear that you like it. Makes me think that probably it does help you out at least a little bit. But shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out here, Mafia. It really is a blast hanging out here on the live streams with every single one of you guys. Chat going nuts all the time. Yeah, shout out to Justin says BTC really loving those stop runs. Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Justin. I don't know if you just tuned in, but yeah, Matic as well. Go check out the breakdown on what we were looking at on Matic. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully, we can see this continuation up with the money flow crossovers that we're seeing on the medium time frames. Remember, higher time frame money flow still coming out, but hopefully locally we could just continue up, crack that $63,000 level, and potentially finally make it up to that $65,000 to $66,000 next target to the upside. And with all that being said, shout out to Alex O. I almost said I appreciate you for being a dad. Shout out to Alex O. Congrats on being a new dad, bro. I'm excited for being a godfather, and you're an actual father, so shout out to you, man. Congrats. I wish your family all the best health and good vibes moving forward. I'm sure you're going to be an amazing dad. I know that. So shout out to you guys. Smash that like button on your way out. I appreciate you. That helps push this content out to everybody else. And I'll see you guys tomorrow right here, same place, same time. 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Frankie Candles YouTube channel. I'll see you guys next time. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Spit shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't nobody's enemy. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
So you're just gonna like cruise. Golden, you can't go 130 in. Hang up the. Okay, send me a picture of the McLaren. Good, have the time of your life, bro. Don't talk on the phone and drive, especially when you're driving fast cars like that. Shout out to you, bro. Thanks for the gifts. Peace out, man. Oh, Golden out there racing in the Nurgenbergen, whatever it's called. Shout out to Golden, bro. I'm just kidding. I wasn't actually on the phone with Golden. But anyway, shout out to the Mafia, guys. Smash that like button on your way out. And, Nurburg. That's kind of how I think of it in my head. Nurburg. Maybe I should go take a flight out to, shout out to, I forgot I had my hair gelled. But yeah. Oh, wait, you got me. Shout out to Hamza. But yeah, shout out to Golden. Drive safe out there, bro, and have a blast. And if you want to send some pictures of McLarens, go ahead and do it. That's all I got, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Let's see if Bitcoin can pump. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like, yeah, you about to see me on demand, like, you know, on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it
Shout out
up,
to
yeah,
Duke.
you know.
Double fake out.
Maxed
Hasta
out,
pasta.